Eyes are on state lawmakers in Albany to pass a state budget next month that would ease restrictions on turning office space into residential units, a lot of which we talked about, which would help ease New York City's housing crisis.
If we are successful with our partners in Albany, then what we'll see is not just the conversion to residential, but also the addition of affordable units.
Our goal is to do the changes that we're talking about so that we can incentivize by putting in city resources to do affordable.
So Mayor Eric Adams is looking to create 500,000 new homes across the city over the next decade, including 6,000 affordable units in the Bronx. So joining us this morning is Bronx City Councilman Rafael Salamanca, who serves as the chairman of the Land Use Committee and has a firsthand look on the progress the city is making to address the affordable housing crisis. So good morning, Councilman. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so earlier this week, the mayor toured one of the office conversions in Lower Manhattan. Do you know how many of these conversions are currently underway, and will these units be limited to Manhattan, or are we going to go in all the 5 boroughs?
Well, last night, close to 70,000 individuals slept in a homeless shelter. It's obvious that in the city of New York, one of the biggest needs is creating affordable housing. There has to be an out-of-the-box thinking, and one of the ideas is converting commercial space into residential. With the mayor's plan and the governor's plan, we can take about 20,000 offices and convert them into units for up to 40,000 families. And this is something that we're looking not just in Manhattan, but we're looking at all 5 boroughs, including parts of the Bronx, like my district.
So let's talk about money and the price, right? Because the apartments aren't necessarily affordable housing. The average monthly rent in New York City is around $4,000, okay? It's a lot of money. Some of these new conversions averaging around $3,500, still out of reach for so many. So how many of these new conversions will be set aside for affordable housing, and what is considered affordable?
Well, this is where the state comes in. Converting these units from commercial to residential, there's a high cost there. And so, therefore, we need the state to create some type of tax incentives for these developers so that they can create these affordable units, permanent units. Some programs, such as in the past, they've had a 421G, so on and so forth. So we're kind of leaning on the state on this budget when they pass it in April, hopefully to ensure that they will have these tax incentives so that we can create these affordable, much needed affordable housing units.
Well, what about the plan to clear away making basement apartments legal across the city? Where does that stand?
That's another conversation that needs to be had. We need all the affordable housing units that are available, but we also know that there's some health hazards. In the past, with Hurricane Ida and other hurricanes, we've seen flooding, which we've seen loss of life. So these are all conversations where we need to bring in all appropriate agencies, such as the buildings department, and change the building codes to ensure that these units are actually safe.
All right, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of bureaucratic red tape to kind of get through. But back to the question of what's considered affordable. Is it the state that decides the dollar amount of what this will cost, or is that up to the individual landlords?
Well, once the state decides what tax incentives they are going to give to this program, and then the department, HPD, the Department of Housing and Preservation, will sit and work with, that's a city agency, will sit and work with us, and they will identify what the average median income, the AMI, is in terms of these units. There are different levels, whether the 30% AMI going up to 120 or 160% AMI. So that's something that a city agency will have to decide.
When we're talking about housing, though, this crisis has been made worse by the migrant crisis and the city's increasing homeless population. Are any of these units going to be set aside for those populations?
Those conversations have not been had yet, but we do know that there's a big backlog of New Yorkers who are waiting for housing. HPD has what's called Housing Connect. It's a lottery where you need to apply online. But we're not saying no. What we want to ensure is that New Yorkers who need housing get the housing that they need.
So there's currently, let me talk about this. I'm sorry that I keep talking about price, but there's currently an affordable housing lottery underway for apartments in luxury high-rises that is in the Mott Haven section, right? But some critics are saying that it's not really considered affordable and that it's misleading since the rents are much higher than the median average income for that area. So how are you making sure that folks won't get priced out of specific areas?
Well, look, in my case, I've been in the council for 7 years. In the last 7 years, I've built over 8,000 units of 100% affordable housing. I am the author of the 15% home set aside, which requires that any developer that's getting any city dollars set aside 15% of their units for families that are ready for independent living. In my case, in the South Bronx, I built housing units with rents as low as $300. So it all depends, in my opinion, on how the local member negotiates these projects, but it also depends on the programs that that HPD provides to these developers. So it all depends on negotiations.
Yeah, and a lot depends on what lawmakers vote on when they vote on the state budget, right?
Absolutely. We do need the state to create some tax incentives. At the moment, the 421 does not exist. And therefore, developers have held back in terms of building housing because they need these tax incentives so that they can continue to build affordable housing. So we are leaning on our state partners and asking them to please create some type of program so that we can continue to build affordable housing in the city of New York.
All right, Councilman Rafael Salamanca, thank you so much for being here this morning. Appreciate your time on this important topic.